Oh, it's kind of glittery. I really need lip balm, but it's so far away and I don't feel like getting it. This is a Bite Beauty lip gloss. Sugar drizzle. Pretty delicious, but it's got some sparkles in it. I'm into it. So basically, I was like, I don't know what, I have absolutely no idea what video I'm going to film today. And sometimes I know ahead of time and sometimes I take notes on stuff. And today I had a laser hair removal appointment. And my armpits are just like smooth as fuck. But okay, the place that I go is Sev Laser. Just so, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But if you happen to live in LA, it's located, well, I think they have a few locations, but this one's in West Hollywood. I don't work with them or anything. I just like heard they were good. I like them. That's where I go. Anyway, it's in this area it's kind of like in between, I guess it's in West Hollywood. It's kind of like in between West Hollywood and Beverly Hills, kind of bougie. It's on a street called Melrose Place, I think. And it's like across the street from like Balmain and like fucking those kind of places, you know what I mean? So it's just like a bougie area, and there's always like rich people, rich old people, and like hipstery looking people milling about, because there's this coffee spot, Alfred, which is garbage coffee. I don't know why. Every single time I go there and I get a coffee, I'm like, oh yeah, this is terrible. I don't know why I keep buying it. But it's cute. Like there's a little outdoor spot. And anyway, so I had my laser appointment and I was like, you know what, I'm going to grab a coffee since I'm here, since I'm like out, to just be outside for a few minutes, which was nice. So I'm standing in line and I was just kind of like witnessing the things around me. And that's how I came to this topic today. And I'm hilarious. Before we even get into it, like before I start talking about substance, since apparently that takes me for fucking ever, I just wanted to read you the notes that I wrote down while I'm standing in line waiting for my coffee. So the way that you did it is like, it was a mobile order, or what I did anyway. And there's just kind of like an area that's open. They have kind of like a little corral space, which is where like tables and chairs usually are for people to outdoor dine. But that's just open. It's kind of like, this is the waiting area for mobile order pickup. So I'm standing over there, kind of like away, like pretty much on the outer perimeter, because you know what, fight or flight, I like to assess the situation. I don't want to be close to people. And also, I don't want anyone breathing on me. So, and that has absolutely nothing to do with COVID. I never want anyone breathing on me. So, anyway, I wrote down these notes, and it says coffee, hipsters, COVID, poor girl, be comfortable, too comfortable, disregard, concessions, apartment living, noise. So those are the notes, because I was just like, you know, when you're in a moment and you're just kind of like thinking about all these things, like you're obviously not talking to anybody. You're just kind of like, I don't know, your consciousness is just going, and that happens to me so often. And I was like, I came to a conclusion that I was going to like talk about this stuff, and so I had to start writing down notes. But a lot of the time when I write down my notes, I look back at it and I'm just like, what does this mean? Like, this means nothing. But luckily today it literally just happened, so I can talk about it. But anyway. So I gave you that long ass build up. So what I witnessed was, I'm standing in line. I wish I had taken a video so that I could just show you what I was experiencing, but just the vibe of the place, really rich, old people. There weren't any old people around, but like rich hipsters who don't give a fuck about the people around them. And let me explain. So I'm standing in line for this coffee, and there's this girl who has been there for a while in front of me. We're all masked, obviously. And she's just kind of standing there, and there's like dots to be like 6 feet apart or whatever. And other people are kind of like standing in that corral that I described. She's standing like just outside it, kind of like, I guess, in order of like who would be up. I don't know, it was mobile order, so like it's kind of a free-for-all, but... and I'm standing significantly behind her, just kind of off to the side, because like they're going to call my name. I don't need to be like all up in there. So I'm watching other people kind of come and go. And what I noticed was there were so many hipsters. And like, you know what I'm talking about. Like when I say that, you can picture it. who had absolutely no regard for this girl's personal space at all. They would just walk right up and stand directly next to her and like ignore the dots. And there was one dude who just kind of like literally like might as well have like shoved her out of the way to get to that open like corral area. So I watched that, and she's kind of like being polite and like looking around like, is anybody else noticing this? We never made eye contact, unfortunately, because I would have been like, I'm with you. I don't know what the fuck's happening here. And then a little later, you know, it keeps happening. And a little later, there's a couple, these two friends, who come up and do almost the exact same thing. Just like not looking or trying to assess the situation or like see like, where should I wait? Am I like, where's the line? They just walked right up like into her, basically. And she did like this, like she stepped back and she was like, I was like, what the fuck? And I was just laughing because I was like, dude, I know. There's so many of these people who just like think that they own the whole world and they own the whole space, and they have no regard for like the other people in it. Like they don't care. Like these two friends were just kind of like taking up so much space together and being loud, and like, I get it. Like you're just living your life and you're not really caring. But it gets to a point, and this was a conversation that I had with my brother a couple days ago. It gets to a point where your comfortability becomes too much. Like socially, there are these like unwritten rules, you know? I don't think anyone should be in those situations where they feel like so uncomfortable. They don't like want anyone looking at them. Like they don't want to get in anybody's way, because those are the people that get like taken advantage of a lot or kind of like shoved off to the side. I understand that. I've pretty much always been that person where I'm just kind of like, I'll do this over here, like you go ahead, you know what I mean? But then there's the opposite of that, where people are so comfortable just where they are and in their own skin and doing whatever that they just completely disregard the other people and end up becoming inconveniences on other people. Does that make sense? So poor girl was obviously this poor girl was just like, I you know, and it's like in a regular situation, I would have gone up to her and been like, are you seriously like these people, you know? But obviously, you know, everyone's trying to keep distance right now. So hipsters, COVID, poor girl. Be comfortable, too comfortable, disregard. See how we're going? So I was kind of discussing this with my brother, and I was trying to figure out like, because it feels very natural to me, these compromises, I guess, you know, with especially like things like apartment living. So for example, you know, I know that I live above people, and people live above me. You know, I complain about the people upstairs. They have a Peloton or something like that, and it often starts when I'm filming, and it's very loud, and you know, it's annoying, but I get it. Like, it's been a crazy year. You can't go to gyms. They obviously got it once the lockdown happened, and they want to work out. They need some kind of cardio. I just go for a run, you know, but it's fine. I'm not judging. I'll just complain about it. But for the most part, they're pretty quiet, you know, like occasionally they'll watch a loud movie and I can hear it. There have been times like pre-COVID where they've had people over, and, you know, it'll be like they'll play music and it'll be loud for like a couple hours, and then maybe they'll go out to a bar. And it's like, I understand that. They're not constantly banging around or being super loud. And those are, you know, things that like, as just a person, I don't want to hear, but I get it and I accept it, and I'm realistic about it, that like occasionally they're going to make noise. And I hope that the people below us, you know, feel the same way. We're not loud at all. Occasionally we'll watch it's the same sort of thing. Occasionally we'll watch a loud movie. Pre-COVID, I mean, we never really had like too many people over, but there were a few times where we had like people over and we'd play music for a little while, but nothing aggressive. There are these people who moved in next to us, and they are, well, one guy in particular, a perfect example of the kind of people who are just too comfortable in that space and not taking into account the people around them. You'll have to let me know if I'm being like super crazy. I can tell you right now, even if you think I'm being super crazy, I disagree. But, you know, we'll see. But there's a guy who whistles all the time, just whistles constantly, always whistling. And the way our building is set up, it's like kind of this shape. It's like I don't even know how to, like, it almost looks like a kidney bean, the way the inside is shaped. And, you know, when I step outside my apartment, you're outside. So, and it's 3 floors. So you have just this big open space. And if you're out on the landing, I don't know what you call that, in the center of the building, and you're talking, everyone can hear you. Even if you're talking at like a normal, if I'm talking like this, like normal volume, everyone can hear you, I'm telling you. Like if they're in their kitchen, their living room, they can hear you talking. It's just the way the sound carries. So that's something that I'm aware of when I like walk outside. I'm not trying to have everybody hear what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be loud. If you're yelling, then it's like deafening, like crazy. If I'm on the phone, like people can hear it, you know what I mean? So this guy whistles all the time, just constantly whistling. And I have heard them since they're relatively new, maybe like 3 months or so. They've definitely had I think they have parties every single weekend. Sometimes they have people over like during weekdays. And they're kind of like in the corner. And I know it's them because I can hear them when I'm in that bathroom. Doesn't matter. You guys don't know the layout of my apartment. But when I'm in that bathroom, I'm like, that's definitely them. I would be shocked if people lived below them. I don't know if people do or not. I don't know if that apartment is vacant, but like these people are so incredibly loud. And one of the things that they do is just like, I don't know if they like leave their slider open or something, but it echoes throughout like the whole apartment complex. You can hear like people screaming like as if it's like a sports game or something. I'm totally just bitching about these people now. But as if they're watching sports where they're just like, come on, come on, come on, ah! Like screaming at the top of their lungs, like men, women, like so much. The reason that I think they have their slider open is because I know who it is, but we can hear them like on the other side of our apartment. It's like very hard if their slider's open to distinguish where the sound is coming from. This is such a long rant. My point is that there are a lot of people who like are so comfortable that they become such an inconvenience. They're not even like considering that other people are living around them. Like I'm not running around with my shoes on. I'm not doing burpees to work out, unlike the guy upstairs. He did stop though. That was nice. Then they got a Peloton. But like you have to there are concessions that have to be made on like both sides, I think. And that's a very healthy place to be, I think, is to be like comfortable enough and not inconvenience yourself so much for the other people around you. But you need to be like cognizant of your actions and how they're affecting the other people around you. Like for instance, that coffee situation, those 2 people should have like, when they walked up, they could have acknowledged that girl and said like, excuse me, they needed to get up and talk to the cashier or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that to me is just like, duh. Like it's just basic, but it doesn't exist in a lot of places. And I do live in Los Angeles, where there are a lot of very rich, very entitled people. And for whatever reason, that fucking place. Also, the coffee is so bad. I don't know why I keep going back there. And I keep complaining about these fucking hipsters. My hair is blue, and I went back and bought the coffee, so what the fuck do they think of me? You know what I mean? Hypocrite. It's just water with like Hershey syrup. I got a mocha. It's terrible. Do not go there. They pretend like they're so bougie because of like where it's located. And most of the time, I don't want to call them baristas because like this isn't real coffee, but they're so rude. So anyway, it's literally right next to the place that I go for laser. That's the only reason I go. Anyway, that was just something that, did I write anything else down? I don't think so. That was just something that I think about a lot because it always baffles my mind when I see people who are missing that common courtesy. And it definitely is like, has a lot to do, I think, with like the area that you're living, or maybe those courtesies are just different. The like culture happens to be different. And if you come from, because obviously like I grew up in New Hampshire, so I'm from the Northeast. This is actually interesting. I did that video where I was talking about how like people perceive me in my thumbnails and stuff, like how I think I come off, or when I was trying to like remove myself and look at myself as if I were another person, and kind of like what my assumptions about me would be. And someone commented and they said that I think they were from New Hampshire, and they felt similarly that they had a very difficult time connecting with other women, and that they felt that men who were outside of New Hampshire were intimidated by them. I haven't necessarily experienced that, but it does show, I think, how it also has a lot to do with just like your personal experiences and how you grew up and kind of how they've shaped you, which I think was my response to that person in that comment. But it's also kind of an example of like how different cultures are in different areas. And obviously like the United States is so fucking big, so every state is basically like a different country, you know? Anyway, when it comes to LA, thank you so much for the lawnmower right now. When it comes to LA, I'm like, I can't tell if that's just like normal and I'm being too sensitive about it, you know? Like I think I've complained about when I first moved here, how people were like pretty rude, like didn't hold the door open for you, or like thank you when you held the door open for them, which I feel like is just basic. That's just basic. That's basic like common courtesy, like public common courtesy, you know? That if someone's walking up behind you, you hold the door open for them. That didn't happen here. In the Valley. It kind of changed, I guess, when I moved to West Hollywood. I guess it happened a little bit more when I moved to West Hollywood. I like this lip gloss. Yeah, that was it. That was basically just an opportunity for me to rant about what I experienced, but I don't know. I know that there are plenty of people out there who are probably just, and maybe their view of it is just like, that person's fine. What are you talking about? Like, I'm just living my life. Like, they probably don't even notice it. If you pointed it out, they would be like, what? Because why else would they do it? You know, it's not like an intentional, it's not like they're intentionally trying to be like dicks. But I just felt like I was watching it happen, and it was so obvious that this girl was like trying to keep a distance and maintain some kind of personal space. And there were so many people who were just like pretending like she didn't exist, basically. And I was like, I feel for you, man. I have been you so many times. Thoughts? Have you been in situations like that? I'm sure. One of my favorite things that has come out of the quarantine is maintaining 6 feet apart in grocery stores. Because I think we've all been in, or just any store. Because not that I've been to any stores, but I feel like we've all been in that situation where you're like in line at Target and you're, you know, the middle person, like there's somebody who's checking out and you're in the middle, and then someone comes up behind you and they're literally like standing next to you, like basically breathing in your perfume and stuff, and you're just like, why are you so close to me? Like a little bit of personal space would be amazing. So I'm really hoping that this whole like personal space, the 6 feet thing maintains, but not on Melrose apparently. Yeah, that's it. Great talk. Bye. Hipsters, COVID, poor girl. It's just so funny.